YouTube, it's Justin, aka Demonic Sweaters, here with another Alesis Nitro Mesh drum kit tutorial. Today, we're going to be doing something pretty fun. Recently, I was working on a song with my friend Justin Gracer, who makes music under the name Subtle People. He had a track that he recorded and wanted me to put drums to, and so I used my electronic kit, but at the same time of recording the audio output of the electronic kit, I also recorded the MIDI output into Ableton Live just to see what I could do with it to basically replace the sounds if I wanted to later on. And that's actually what I ended up doing, and I think it actually is, well, first off, it's a lot easier than I thought it would be, and second off, it ended up sounding really good. So what this tutorial is going to be is showing you how you can record your drums from the Alesis Nitro Mesh, and this probably would work with just about any other electronic drum kit that has a MIDI output, and then record the audio and MIDI simultaneously into Ableton Live, and then afterwards you can basically replace all of the drum sounds with whatever you want. So it's pretty darn cool. So one reason why maybe you'd want to do it like this is you can still play the drums and have the part, thought of, and get through all of your parts and record everything you need to do using the built-in sounds on the Nitro, and that way you could get through the song and practice and everything. But if you record the MIDI output at the same time, once you go to actually mix the recording, you have a lot more options. So first off, let me just show you how I hooked it up, and then afterwards we'll get into actually doing this process within Ableton. So here we go. All right, now there are a couple of different ways you could do this, but I'm just going to show you how I did it and then tell you about some of the other options that you could use if you don't have this exact setup. So first off, what I did is I ran my audio output left and right from the module into my audio interface right here, which is the Alesis IO4. It's an older interface, but it has many common features on it. And another thing that this actually has is a hardware MIDI input on the actual interface. So that enables me to run from the hardware MIDI output on the module right here with a MIDI cable, standard MIDI cable, not the USB, straight into the interface. Now, the other option would be to use the MIDI via USB, which is over here on the end of the module right there. So you could also run from a USB MIDI cable into your computer, giving you another MIDI input. Now, for me, I just did it this way just because I would have everything going into the same interface, so I just thought it was a little bit easier and a little more convenient. But I think either way should work just fine. So once you do that, basically what you're going to do is just, play through your part, record your drum parts and all of that. And once you get all that done and you're happy with your takes, you can go into Ableton and start messing around with it. So let me get into Ableton now and I'll show you what I did. Okay, so here we are within Ableton. Oops, just hit my microphone. So first off, before I get started, I just wanted to mention there's a little watermark you'll notice down in the lower right-hand corner, and that is the screen capture, streaming and stream capture software I'm using called XSplit. And I'm really happy with this so far. I'm just giving them a little shout out. They haven't paid me to do this or anything, but it's working really good, especially for the screen capture in Ableton. I had difficulties with a lot of other software that I've tried with this, so it's working. Anyway, let's get to it. So what you're looking at right here is I'm still on Ableton Live 9. I use Intro, Ableton Live Intro, because it's the less expensive version, but it suits fine for my needs, or suits me fine for my needs. But so what you're looking at is I have it in timeline mode. If we switch over to clip mode, you can see basically all I did is I just my friend sent me a mix, a basic mix without drums, which I imported here. And then what you see here is the audio recorded out from the Alesis Nitro. And if I go ahead and turn that on, let me just play a little bit of this so you can hear it. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is switch to the new drums that I put in there. I replaced with my own samples. And as you can hear, they're far more realistic sounding than the ones on the actual module itself. I mean, the ones on the module don't sound bad. I think the weakest part of them is the hi-hat. But I kind of like the sounds in the module, even though they sound kind of fake. But There's a certain charm to them. But anyway, if you want to get something totally different, though, this opens up a lot of different possibilities. And let me go ahead and show you. Basically, this is not that hard to do at all. What I did, and the way that you can figure this out, is after you record the MIDI and you have a separate track. Well, what I should mention is I created a MIDI track and then an audio track, and I just simultaneously recorded both as I was playing the drums to the part. And the one thing that I noticed is when I went in to examine the MIDI is, I don't know if this is because I used the hardware MIDI output on the module versus the USB one, but my MIDI track there was a little bit of latency, so I had to nudge it to the left just a little bit. And that may or may not happen. Maybe it was my interface. Maybe it was the module. I'm not sure what it was. But you can tell if you just play them both at the same time. And if there sounds like there's a delay between the two tracks, then you can move it over. But of course, you won't be able to tell that until you assign drum samples to the actual MIDI track to begin with. So the first thing you're going to have to do is start assigning drum samples. Now, what I used is, if you look down here, on the bottom here, what I did is I just used the regular default Ableton drum rack. And to do that, well, maybe what I should do, let me go ahead and I'm going to save this. And then I'm going to save a copy. And so that way I can mess with this and it's not going to mess me up. So I'll just save it like that. Copy. And now what I can do is I can start over so you guys can see exactly how I did this. So let's get rid of that. And let's get rid of that. And now we're just left with a blank MIDI track right here. And this is what you'll end up with right after you record. So what you can do then is, if you look here, I just expanded this. Let me put it back down to the default view. So this is what you're going to end up with after you record your MIDI straight out of the Alesis Nitro mesh. It's going to look like this. And if you look here, down on the bottom, you can see all the different MIDI notes. And if we just grab this and pull it up, it tells you which note each drum is on. Now, the only one that was a little bit funny, that was kind of in a separate, well, let me not get a hold of myself. Let's go ahead and I'll just move past this step first before I talk about that. So the first thing you're going to want to do is actually go to your track, your MIDI track. Let's go into clip mode here, or clip view. We have our MIDI track here that the drums are on. And then I'm just going to select the drum rack right here. And just drag it right into there. And now if we go back to our clip mode, we can see that we now have a drum rack here. And now the easiest thing to do is just to start off with the kick drum. Now what I used was, I actually have some samples of drums that I recorded in a studio, in my friend Charlie's studio, who I play with Ronan Conroy. He plays bass, and he has a really, really great studio in Greenpoint, New York. And we recorded all of Ronan's albums there. But a couple years ago, I hiked, this big, huge drum set that I made called the Sun Drums. And I don't know if you watch those videos, but there's a whole series of videos on my channel about me making these drums called the Sun Drums. But I took them, it was like this huge drum kit, and I took it up to Charlie's studio, Capture Sound, or Capture Sound, I think is what it's called, and recorded all these different drum tracks up there. And basically, I also went through and recorded just a bunch of drum hits. So I would have individual samples for the drums, and you can hear them right here. I have cowbell, all the different drums and cymbals that I had on that kit. There's that Peisty crash. I was looking for that before. So, as you can see, I have multiple samples here. And you can get, what I'm going to do too is I'm going to upload this sample pack so you guys can have it. And I also saved my drum rack. And I think I can upload that too. I'm not totally sure. I'm going to try. If I can upload the actual drum rack with all these samples already mapped out, I'll do that too. And you can either use them how they are, at least you'll know where all the actual samples are mapped. And so that way you could either use it or just replace it with the appropriate samples. But anyway, so what I did is I just went through and I figured out by looking at the MIDI track here, you can see C1 right here, and that looks like it's a kick drum, and just because it's so consistent, and that is correct. So I just went into my kick drum sound here, and I just drug it on to C1 in the drum rack. And now if I start playing this back, you can hear that there's a kick there now. And all I did after that is I just went through, you know, kind of trial and error, but you can see which notes at least are assigned to the different pads on the Alesis Nitro Mesh. And it only records the ones that it uses, which is very nice. So you don't end up with a lot like this huge piano roll with all these notes on it that are empty. So it was pretty easy to figure out. I know that this B1, this one took me a little while to figure out, and what that is actually the snare rim. I'm pretty sure that's what it was, like the rim shot of the snare. But the only thing that was weird is that was the only one that was in a different set of pads on the Ableton drum rack. So you can see it's B minus one, and it's down there. So if I find my snare here, where is it? Just drag that down to there. Okay, and then the rest were all up in this part of the drum rack. And yeah, so anyway, I mean, what I could do is I can just, instead of going through all of this again, and just get rid of that there, and I'm going to find my, oops, where is it? Find my drum, here it is. So I created this instrument, and it's I just called it Nitro Replace Sun Drums. And so I can just drag that right onto this MIDI channel rather. And now you can see exactly how all of these were mapped. So if I come over here, we have the kick drum is in the first slot here, and then C#1 is empty, snare, D#1 is empty, another snare. Now you could, if you wanted to make it more realistic, you know, you could also have different sounds. Oh, I'm sorry, that B, what was this? Oh, okay, so this was actually one of the hi-hat open sounds is what that is. That is, B-1 was one of the hi-hat open sounds. Now, see, I only had limited samples. I didn't do multi-velocity samples. So you could actually make this more realistic if you had a couple more different samples, like say if you did a rim shot sound, and then you did a regular snare hit sound, and then, you know, if you created all of your samples thinking about all of the different pads and triggers that are available on the Nitro Mesh, you have 3 different hi-hat sounds, I think. No, wait. You have open hi-hat, halfway open hi-hat, closed hi-hat, and then hi-hat pedal. So you actually have 4 different hi-hat sounds, and then you have 2 snares. Toms only have 1 each, and then you have ride cymbal and crash cymbal, but how I mapped mine is I used the second tom as a ride cymbal. But anyway, like I'm saying, all you have to do, it's not that hard at all. You just go through and you just replace all of the individual drums with your own samples. You could even use drums that are part of Ableton if you wanted to. You could get crazy and use some, you know, electronic sounds. You could download samples from the internet. I mean, there's endless possibilities that you could do with triggering samples from your Alesis Nitro Mesh within Ableton. And this is one of the things I really love about Ableton Live. It's just so flexible. So let me just play a little bit of this, because I think it really sounds good. Like, I can't believe how good it came out. I'm just going to play a little bit so you can hear it. Okay, now if I compare that to the Alesis Nitro sounds, let's go back. And I know a lot of you guys like this kit that I programmed too, because I made a video about how I programmed this kit. And this is one of my custom kits. And it sounds pretty good, but it still doesn't sound as good as that did. But here it goes. Just obviously more synthetic sounding. Compare that to this. Now the major weakness of the Alesis Nitro Mesh, in my opinion, is the hi-hat. And once I get ahead here, let me scroll forward a little bit to where I'm playing on the hi-hat right here. Those are my own samples there. Compare that to this. And it's just night and day. The only sample that I didn't have was the hi-hat pedal sample, like stomping down my pedal, this one. So I just used one of the default sounds in Ableton, one of the built-in samples, and it worked fine. You can't really tell. I mean, it blends in well enough with my hi-hats, which are this. So it's pretty accurate. So yeah, I do want to replace. I want to replace that crash with a Peisty crash, but I'll do that a little bit later. But anyway, yeah, hopefully you guys got something out of this and learned a little bit. If I left anything out, please let me know. I know sometimes I tend to leave glaring like bits of important information out of videos sometimes. So if I forgot something, please let me know. There may be something that I just skipped over that I'm used to doing in Ableton. Oh, I know one thing. Yes, one thing definitely you need to do. Okay, to really make your drums sound realistic, you have to use something called choke groups. And you only really need to use them on the hi-hats, all the different hi-hat samples. And what this means is if we go in here to our drum rack and we click this little I/O symbol right here, that'll open up right here where we see choke. And so what that is we want to have, well, I don't need that on the snare. I turn that off. That's probably why I was getting a weird sound there. So all we need to put the choke groups on are the hi-hat sounds. And the reason why we want to do this is because there's never going to be an open hi-hat sound the same time as a closed hi-hat sound. So in order to make basically one sample stop, like say you have an open hi-hat, you want that to stop when the closed hi-hat happens, you just put them in the same choke group. So that'll tell Ableton that when that trigger gets sampled, when hi-hat open gets sampled, and if the next trigger, trigger that happens is a closed hi-hat, it'll cut off that open hi-hat sound, so it makes it sound realistic. That's how, playing this pattern, open, oh, not yet, coming up in a second, right there. Now, if I had not had that choke group on, well, actually, let me just show you the difference. If I turn this off, let's turn off the choke groups. And you can see that it sounds weird now. Let me just go back. Solo it so you can hear more. You hear how the open hi-hat sustains longer than longer than it should, because if the hi-hat is being closed and you're playing, it should cut off. So anyway, that's what the choke groups do, and that's really essential to getting a realistic sound. Yeah, so it's really cool. This opens up tons of possibilities. I did something similar with showing you how you could do this with a sound font and Linux, but this is actually much simpler, and it's a lot faster. You can, it gives you a lot of options. You could quickly build up a bunch of custom kits. And now that I know what I need to sample, I'm gonna go back soon and find somewhere I could set up my kit. I don't have it set up right now, my acoustic kit, I mean, and do all like really good samples again and sample it specifically for the Nitro Mesh and Ableton, and I think it'll be really cool. So anyway, hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. If you have any questions, feel free to let me know down below, or just, post a comment or something, and you can always check out my other videos, and please subscribe, click like, thumbs up, hit the bell icon, all that good stuff. Anyway, see you guys really soon. Have a good day.